called me a madman. And what I predicted came to pass.
I put emphasis.
When LeBron won his first championship back in, I forgot, it's been so long now, I forgot what year that was. I'm pretty sure that was 2012 or 2013. Only part I really remember is when the reporter, when they were about to interview him after they officially won, asking him how did he feel, what was going through his mind, blah blah blah, and his only response was, "It's about damn time." And this is how me, and I'm sure many of you, are feeling right now, as it's official. Greg Roman is no longer the offensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens. I had to take a sigh of relief. The Ravens have been so stressful lately. It feels like every other video I'm doing, I gotta take a deep breath and let it breathe. If you're a Ravens fan, or if you even casually pay attention to the Ravens, you know people like us have wanted Greg gone for years now. Years. And again, when people like us say what we say, it's not because we're haters or we're mean or we're this or we're that. No, it's just because you can see Greg Roman has a track record. Track records matter. And at the end of the day, Greg Roman runs into the same exact problem everywhere he goes. First of all, he sticks with the same exact scheme. The same scheme he was running this year was the same scheme he was running 12 years ago with Colin Kaepernick. He sticks to the same exact scheme, and it has the same cycle every time, where they might get off, they could get off to a fast start. It could catch people off guard. He cares more. The quarterback is a bigger part of the running for him than the actual running backs, and that's why you've seen people like J.K. Dobbins actually frustrated in the post-game interview after we just lost to the Bengals, complaining about how he only got 12 carries, even though he's a beast and he's really coming back into form, and he's not even 100% healthy yet. But that decision cost us the game, as well as many other decisions Greg Roman has made over the years. But at the end of the day, Greg is gone. It's been announced officially that he is stepping down. But real quick, I gotta finish the point I was making. Greg, he has the same cycle wherever he goes. They could get off to a quick start, they catch people off guard initially, but Greg Roman doesn't adjust. And not only does he not adjust, his scheme is very limited. His scheme, and not only is his scheme limited as far as passing concept, but also his scheme is limited as far, in my opinion, as far as running concepts too. Not because it's 100% limited from the running aspect, but what I mean is, in many cases, he's more concerned with utilizing the quarterback at the focal point for the running attack more than the running back. You've seen that in San Francisco with Colin Kaepernick. You've seen that in Buffalo with Tyrod Taylor, and obviously for the past several years, we've seen that with Lamar Jackson. And I know for a lot of Ravens fans like myself, it actually became very frustrating because you got a guy like J.K. Dobbins. Gus Edwards, in my opinion, isn't as good as J.K., but still, you also had Gus Edwards. Well, not last season, obviously. They were all hurt. But, in many cases throughout the seasons, we've had competent running backs. Or in the case of J.K., we got a special running back, and it's you're claiming to be this run. Well, not claiming. People have appointed you this run game guru, but you're completely neglecting your actual running backs. And again, that speaks to the Greg Roman experience as a whole, where it makes you scratch your head and you're just confused because you're just sitting there trying to figure out why is he always doing the opposite of what makes sense, which is why Greg Roman should have been gone years ago. And I don't think this should just stop at a Greg Roman firing, because they made it very politically correct and said, he's stepping down, he's parting ways. But I would have rather them just say, he got fired. The Buccaneers just announced they fired Byron Leftwich, and I don't even think the Buccaneers should have fired Byron Leftwich, even though they struggled. Just like how we had a lot of injuries last year, the Buccaneers this year were decimated with injuries this year, especially on the offensive line. And it started it started last offseason when Ryan Jensen went down before the season started. You already knew that O-line was going to struggle, and guess what? Tom Brady's not mobile. So he needs a top tier O-line. But that's either here nor there. But I would have rather them go the route that the Buccaneers went, where they said, "Oh, we fired Greg Roman." Now, some people may feel like, "Oh, that's mean," blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, I still think you should have went that route just to make a message. Because saying that he stepped down, that makes it sound as though he still was gonna be offered a chance to come back and re-sign, which is a major insult to Ravens fans, a major insult to this team's potential, because he was clearly a major liability, holding the potential of this offense back. And basically, when it says he steps down, it's making it seem as though he's choosing to leave y'all, and y'all wanted him back, which to me it doesn't sit well with me, because it makes me feel like the Ravens still haven't officially learned their lesson yet. Or maybe I should say John Harbaugh and Eric DeCosta haven't officially learned their lesson yet. And granted, just because it sounds like that doesn't mean that's actually the case. He might have actually just gotten fired, and that have been the end of it. Because news also did come out today that in reality, Greg Roman actually didn't have an expiring contract. Apparently, he actually did have 1 year left. I was surprised by that, because I could have sworn it was announced that this was his last year. But nonetheless, I feel very relieved, but not completely relieved, obviously, because John Harbaugh needs to be fired next. There's no way you could keep John Harbaugh, man. You have to let John Harbaugh go. The fact that, yes, they finally did the right thing and got rid of Greg Roman. But at the end of the day, the fact that John Harbaugh and Eric DeCosta allowed somebody as big a liability as Greg Roman to stick around they allowed him to linger for this long. To me, that's not a good look. At the end of the day, I don't like that at all. I don't like that one bit, because that to me that comes off like you care way more about keeping your job. You care way more about controlling your environment and not bringing in anybody who can take your job. You care way more about just protecting your friend than you do about actually creating the best team that could actually win football games. Because again, it was evident 2-3 years ago that Greg Roman should have been fired. So why on earth are we sitting here 2-3 years after the fact, and they're finally having Greg Roman quote unquote step down? Like, that doesn't sit well with me. I still think John Harbaugh needs to go. Like I'm saying, I got another video. Look, I have I still didn't upload my video ranting about the Bengals game, because I was too it was a combination of being busy, but also it was taking a long time for it to like download off of the video editing app platform I was using. So, and this one I'm gonna try to upload straight off my phone. But I'm still gonna upload that my thoughts about the Ravens-Bengals video, like probably either later tonight or tomorrow, or I guess whenever you hear this. But to me, like, I still think John needs to go. At the end of the day, he, as well as his regime, they have an outdated philosophy. They wanna go all in on running the ball and playing hard-nosed defense, and completely neglecting, or not completely, but mostly neglecting the offensive side of the ball, especially when it comes to wide receiver. And you can't do that. You got to get rid of John, because the thing about it is you can't even trust that John is going to bring in somebody who's going to actually be really creative and competent as an offensive coordinator, like not just in the running attack, but also with passing concept. You can't trust John to do that, because if John was willing to do that, he would have done that from the jump. Why did you let somebody like Greg Roman linger this long when it was clear 2-3 years ago that Greg Roman was not the long-term answer at offensive coordinator, man? Like, so yeah, I definitely think that they gotta let John go. I definitely think they gotta let John go. Will they let John go? I'm hoping so. Time will tell. Time will tell. I'm just waiting to see. part of me feels like they want to try to keep John. I hope they don't. Like, I want to see completely new faces at this point. Because, again, it's been 15 years of John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh still doesn't like bringing in anybody who's too good at their job because he doesn't want them to threaten his job. John Harbaugh still doesn't like bringing in people who have too strong of personalities or too likable because he doesn't want them to threaten his job. And John Harbaugh still has some of the same deficiencies that he's had his whole career, like time management, which is what we saw in that Bengals game. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on this. Like, are you excited that Greg is going? I'm sure most of you are. And do you agree with me when it comes to getting rid of John too? I know some people, they're on the fence. Some people don't want him to go. Some people do. Some people don't care. Personally, I want him to go. But let me know what your thoughts are on this in the comment section.